I've posted over 300 videos in the last 6 months, and I've learned 6 lessons from doing this so that you don't have to do it unless you really want to. And this is not going to be a super tactical video, but really just sharing with you what I'm finding. And so that you can either decide if you want to do it yourself or not to do it. Either way, you're going to have the lessons. But also because I believe in transparency. So these are the 6 lessons, and starting with lesson number 1, it's about timing. Now, when I say timing, I'm not talking about the times that you should post. I'm not talking about the times that you should be on Instagram or be on TikTok, nothing like that. I'm talking about when you should start taking the actual steps. We're going to start with scripture. In Ecclesiastes 11:4, it says, "Farmers who wait for perfect weather never plant. If they watch every cloud, they never harvest." What this is saying is that there is no perfect time to start. At some point, you just need to stop watching the clouds and daydreaming and just do it. Because the people who show up, those are the people who get results. It doesn't even matter if you have crappy content. If you just show up every single day, if you don't worry about timing, if you just keep showing up, you're going to get the views, you're going to get the likes, the follows, everything, whatever it is like that. And all you got to do now is just identify the patterns and just keep showing up. Identify the patterns, refine a little bit, and just keep showing up. I'm not talking about posting times. You just need to forget the timing and just show up. Lesson number 2 is experience. So this is going to explain why I've posted over 300 videos in just 6 months. But what I realized is that the average person, somebody who doesn't have experience, which I did not, the average person, you can't really say if a strategy is working or not if you're on social media, if you're trying to grow, until you've posted at least 100 videos. Now, I say that knowing that there are some people who, in the matter of a week, have hundreds of thousands of followers and millions of views and likes and all those great things. Some people actually do that. But there are 2 reasons for that. One, they had previous marketing experience or some kind of artistic trait or something very unique in some experience. Or 2, they got lucky, which is not even a bad thing, but they did get lucky. And that is possible. So what I figured out, what I decided is that if I want to make up with for the experience that I don't have, but I don't have years to learn and study and do all that, or I want to create my own luck, if I don't have those 2 things, but I want those 2 things, if I just post an insane amount of times and study the patterns as I was just talking about and refine as I go, I can gain that experience without the years. I can create my own luck without having to actually be lucky. Because the harder you work, the more luck you have. At least that's kind of what it seems to be. The more you put in, the more you're going to get out. And if you just post consistently without the concern of views and whatever metric you're measuring, if you can just post and share authentically, I've even seen people doing this challenge. The Higher Up Wellness guy, if you know who that is, if you're watching this video, cool. But he has a challenge where you just, I've seen people do it. I didn't actually do it, but you just post 100 days in a row, just speaking for 60 seconds straight, no cuts, no edits, nothing, just go and just post it every single time. And some people are coming out of that with hundreds of thousands of followers with a gigantic business they never had 100 days ago, or maybe it's even 30 days. I don't remember, but the point is, you can make up for a lack of experience or a lack of luck if you can show up consistently and put in more volume. That's what I found. Lesson number 2. It's about experience. You don't need the experience. You can make up for that later. Number 3, this is attention. And this one is a very practical lesson. And the most important, what I found is that the most important lesson to track in short form content, so this doesn't apply to YouTube unless it's YouTube Shorts, but it's the first 5 seconds. And what I was noticing that every video that did better than my other ones, every video that did a little bit better, it was the first 5 seconds. They had at least 50% of attention was kept at 5 seconds. So 50% of viewers were still watching at 5 seconds. If you can do that, what I've noticed, it will be a good video. That's all the algorithm actually cares about. After that, doesn't actually matter, but it's going to get at least that larger initial push, and you can maximize it to get more views by fixing the rest of it and fixing your storytelling. But it's really that 5 seconds that will determine whether or not it's going to be a good video. But This is actually a weird one because it is 5 seconds. If you can hold 50% of attention for 5 seconds, it will be a good video. But it's weird because it's the first 3 seconds that will determine if they watch the next two. So the first 5 seconds is actually split up into two parts. The first part of that is 3 seconds, and this is why it's so important, because you need to be able in 3 seconds explain what this person is watching and why they should watch it, and they will decide in the next 2 seconds whether or not they will continue watching it. But it's those 3 seconds that will determine the full 5 seconds, and that is all the algorithm actually cares about. I hope that made sense. I'm still understanding it. All I know is that if you can hold somebody for 5 seconds, it matters. The 3 seconds matter first. If you can get them for 3, they will stay for 5, and then the rest of the video will take care of itself, and it'll be a good video. At least you'll get the initial push. Okay, lesson number 4. And if you want to actually see some results, this is where these next few lessons, these are the make or break kind of lessons. And this is number 4, the one that nobody wants to talk about. It's discipline. Discipline, why this is the one nobody wants to talk about, is because everything good, most things, it begins with discipline. Discipline, showing up every day, whether you want to or not, is what creates habits, which the right habits will create freedom and growth and profit and scale your business and everything else. The right habits will do all of that, but it starts with discipline. It is discipline until it becomes a habit. And so whatever else you're looking for, it starts with discipline. And why I've learned this from posting 300 videos is because, you need discipline to be able to post 300 videos in 6 months. And I did well over that. I just didn't want to count it. I just know it's looking just at my Instagram on my main feed. I just hit 200 videos. But I also have the trial reels. I also have the Facebook posts. I also have TikTok and YouTube Shorts. So I know it's well over 100, just on 300, just on Instagram alone. Anyways, but to be able to do that, so here's how I measured that, because you can actually measure your discipline. And for those who lack discipline, you might want to consider this. The start of every day, I do at least 100 minutes of content creation. That is, my business depends on it. It really does. But that's how I was measuring my discipline, because I really struggled with it. I've tried this before and I couldn't do it until I actually started timing myself and tracking what I'm doing throughout the day. And then you find out how much time you're wasting. Discipline, if you're struggling with this, you have to start timing yourself. I always have a timer on my phone. For the people who know me, if you've seen my phone and you see a timer, that's what it actually means. Right now, I'm at 2 hours and 45 minutes from what I'm seeing. I'm at 2 hours and 45 minutes, so I've already hit my time. And that's because I'm recording longer videos like this one. But you have to track your discipline. You have to track your time until it becomes a habit. Because, of course, the first couple of days, I was all gung-ho about it. Like, yeah, I'm going to post every single day. I'm going to post more than once a day, blah, blah, blah. But that gets old real quick. And if you've watched my other videos, the Proverbs series that I'm making, in the first chapter of Proverbs, it says the purpose of these Proverbs are to teach people to live disciplined and successful lives. What's not in that is motivation. And what I've noticed, motivation is a great thing, but even motivation, if you're not motivated every day, which is discipline, if you're not motivated every day, it means nothing. If you're depending on motivation, if you are depending on discipline, you'll get it done whether or not you're motivated. And so that's why this is what creates the right habits, which is what creates freedom. And I will continue to post the same volume that I've been doing because it's become a habit now. I still track the time because it's a good metric for me to keep track of, to watch the growth of my business, but you get the point. Okay. Lesson number 5 is followers. And there's 2 parts to this. One, the first part of this lesson is that followers don't matter as much as you think they do. Of course, there is credibility to having more followers, but if you don't have engagement, people find out it actually works against you. If you have a ton of followers, but you get 20 likes on a post, it actually works against you. And so followers, especially today, they don't mean as much as people think that they do. They still mean something, but it's not it has very little to do with the success of your business. If you're using this for business, I don't know that if you're watching my page, you probably are. But it means very little. It's better to have 100 people who care about what you do instead of 1,000 or 1,000,000 people who don't even look at your posts anymore. What really matters, especially in business, is that people care that you're reaching the right audience. That's what matters. You're reaching the right audience, even if it's not necessarily the biggest audience. There is no such thing as an oversaturated market. If you can reach the right audience, you'll always be successful. And social media is very good at doing that now because their algorithm is so freakishly in tune with what people are doing nowadays, so they can find the right people. If you can find the right people, it doesn't matter how many followers you are, you'll be successful. The second thing is, this is actually where I started, where I actually had a decent amount of followers before I started doing this, but that was only because I was posting volleyball content, and it's very easy to go viral with volleyball highlights and stuff like that. It's very easy to do that. And so I accidentally before grew an audience with that, but I completely stopped posting any volleyball until recently. I might post on my story now and then, because it's kind of the first part of this. It wasn't the right audience that I knew I was going to need. But also, if you're in that position, just know that it doesn't make a difference. You can still post, you can completely change your niche and it will still work, because the algorithms today are more interest based rather than followers based. Okay. They target people who have the same interest of the content that you're talking about, and then it'll be put in front of them. So if you have the wrong followers, it doesn't actually matter. Just keep going, start, post, whatever it is. Okay. Lastly, number 6 are the values. This one is strong for me. Well, I need it to be strong because I talk about faith and finance and business, which are very sensitive topics. People are so sensitive about these things. And so it's very easy for me to just forget what's actually true and just say things that I know will get more views. And I see people doing that who also talk about their faith, which I think is disgusting. They say intentionally controversial things because they know they're going to get more views. And I understand that's how social media works, but I never want to be that kind of person that says things just to get views. I want it to be accurate. The values that I hold should always come before views. Values over views. That's a good way to put it. I just thought of that. But the internet, the problem is that the internet will pay you to betray your values. And you see that happen all the time. You see your favorite Christian influencer, or even if it's not a Christian faith-based person, you see them sell out for the craziest brand deals because the internet will pay you to betray your values. And every video you post, there's going to be that temptation if you keep if you keep entertaining it, it will always be there. And so don't even entertain it. Your values are non-negotiable. Don't post things and say things just to say things because you know it's going to get more views. You can be controversial as long as it's true. I mean, especially today, I'm finding that the truth is very controversial sometimes. If it's true, then say it. But if you're saying things just for views, you're betraying your own values. Okay. And I guess that depends on the topic, but it shouldn't be an afterthought. That should be the center of your content. If you are going to do what I did and post several hundred times over 6 months, then your values are going to be tempted every single time you post. It needs to be very strong and it cannot be negotiable. It is the first thing that you think about when you're coming up with a script or going to talk about anything. All right, different kind of video, but I'm going to post more of these just so that I can kind of document my process, and hope somebody along the way learned from it. But see you in the next video.